Good afternoon, students. Finally, in our last topic, as I promised previously, we're going to look at internal and external control. Every organization has standards of how things has to be done, of how finance have to be managed, of how procurement has to be done, and all that. So in this topic, we are mostly going to look at those control tools that are used to control the system or the operations in an organization. We shall begin with internal, and we say internal controls. These are procedures or checks within an organization that help prevent errors, fraud, misuse of resources. Of course, these are in place to check how did an error happen, who caused it, and why was it there. Fraud could be price leakage. A procurement officer collides with the buyers and gives them the price so that they win. Could be connected to corruption. How did it happen? So all these procedures or check tools within an organization are what we call the internal controls. Internal means within the organization, just within, without attracting outsiders to help in the checking process. With the external, independent evaluations or audits from outside the organization to verify records and strengthen accountability. With the external, it involves bringing auditors from outside or evaluators from outside to check the system of the organization, and they will give their report to mostly the top management to make decisions. So we have internal and external controls. What is the goal? To promote integrity, transparency, and reliable management of assets. This could be done annually. It depends on the organization. Could be done annually, quarterly, or half a year, depends. So they can do the check of how things are done in an organization. Key internal control measures, segmentation of duty, control. Internal measures can be done in this way. One, we have segregation of duties. How do we segregate? How does it help? One, separate staff for recording transaction and commodity and custody of assets. For us to control, to ensure that there is no fraud in the organization, there is no error or no misuse of organization resources, we separate the staff. We get a staff who is in charge of recording the transactions, then another one who will be in charge of storage. So the two have their own separate records. This way we can reduce errors and fraud. Or we prevent manipulations or cover up of frauds. This will help us to prevent manipulations or cover up of frauds. Controlled requisition, which is also another key. How do we have internal control measures? Is through having what we call control requisition. How do you procure? Only authorized staffs can request for purchases. We have in organization, we have what we call local purchase order. So only someone who is authorized can fill that form to request a product to be bought. Requisition power should have clear limits. As I said, who is supposed to request for a purchase of a certain product? So, and the powers to that person must have limits in form of the quantity of the product to be purchased. If it is maybe 50,000, maybe 10,000 US dollars, we can say the procurement officer can request, or the procurement desk can request. If it is 50,000, they must involve the procurement committee. If it is more, then it have to be approved by someone. Those are what we call the limits. They must be limited. Requisition purchase links. All purchases must be traceable to the request. When a product comes, there must be a trace line that takes us to where the request started from. This is very important. The requesting department cross-check the purchasing team also is very important. The department that needs that product can cross-check with the team that purchased it. Of course, that is the user department that requests. Then the procurement department may be the one that is purchasing. So they can cross-check whether the product was according to their specification. Design good receiving area. You need to know where are goods going to be delivered. All deliveries must go through a specific locations, a checkpoint. Maybe if they're coming through the gate, they're checked. They're passing through, this is what is requested, this is what has entered. And it is checked by security. Then when it is entering the stores also, it is cross-checked. Ensure accurate goods received note. Goods received note document has to be there and it is signed by the person who receives it, which should be serially numbered, having its serial number so that it can be easily traced. In case there are many, this product was received at this time by so and so. So this also becomes an internal control measure. Random invoice check. Invoices can be checked at a random, also is another important tool. At a random, when there is some you're not sure, you just request the finance or the procurement, bring the invoices. So when you're checking these invoices, select random invoice for verification, and then determine fraud and ensure invoice legitimacy. You see that this invoice is given on this product that was received on a certain date and the invoice was given on this date. Then we can also use computer control systems also to aid our internal control. Systems must be accurately processed. Systems must accurately process all original data. There must be computers that can record the data about the products that is flowing in and the product that is flowing out. They will help us to monitor these products. Safeguard against data temporary or loss. Computers also will help us to keep the data that we need. Internal control also, the other last measure is limit individual control. Don't let one person control multiple financial functions. One person there should be a series of people to approve a certain amount of money, as I mentioned before. Make it hard to commit or hid fraud. Supplementary external control. Let's look at the external control. With external control is more of audits. So we bring in external auditors, independent professional inspect financial records, help detect fraud, verify inventory, and enhance credibility. Then also another measure can be we use independent examiners who will do review of books, vouchers, and documents, often results in recommendation for improving internal control. Fraud warning signs. How do we know that there is a fraud going on within an organization or within the procurement system? Giveaway signs. Let's look at the giveaway signs. That is the fraud warning signs. Number one, be alert to red flag of frauds or corruption by monitoring this. One, unfolded invoices arriving via posts may not have been through normal procedures. Invoices that are that are unfolded, that are clean, easily, maybe it was just written somewhere and brought. That can be a sign of fraud. Doesn't mean it's fraud, but it can be. These are signs. So it doesn't mean when in your workplace someone bring an invoice that is clean, it's a fraud. No, it's a suspicion, just could be a sign, but it's not the case. Too many orders from one supplier. One supplier is the only one giving a lot. One supplier is done supplying another one. Unless it is a single sourcing which is approved. If it's a single sourcing that is approved, it's okay. But one supplier is done giving a lot of products. When they research, then there is then the suspicion of fraud. Missing or lost documents also can be another sign of fraud. For example, delivery note or invoices That can be another sign that is fraud. Sudden unexplained wealth and spending by an employee can also be another sign, where the question is, where did he get the money? Human resource has his salary. Amount, so how did the extra money come in? That can be a sign of fraud. Employee refuses to go on leave, accept promotion or transfers, also can be also another sign. Someone doesn't go for leave, doesn't accept to be transferred, maybe to some another location. It could be a sign that someone is hiding something. Let's look at why these controls matter, or the importance of internal control. One, it promotes organizational transparency. As procurement students, you know this is very important. Protect financial resources so that financial resources are not misused. Build stakeholders' confidence. Stakeholders could be the shareholders, it could be the government, you know, the community. So they feel it builds their confidentiality in the organization, because they know there is no fraud, there is no corruption. It also helps to detect and prevent fraud and corruption. Of course, when we have controls, it will help us to prevent frauds and corruption. Ensures compliance with laws and policies. Of course, we have anti-corruption laws, so it will help us to follow these laws. In our summary, internal control focus on process management, authorization, and segmentation of duties. Internal controls brings independence, oversight, and verification. These are now the summary part.